Don't skip. What do they feel when you disappear? The art of walking away. What happens when you're not valued? Have you ever felt unappreciated in love, life, or relationships? When your efforts are ignored, your kindness taken for granted, and your presence treated as if it's guaranteed. In these moments, the Stoic choice is clear. You leave. You walk away, not out of spite, but as a declaration of your worth. But what happens next? What does the person left behind truly feel? Do they panic, scrambling to understand why you're gone? Do they regret taking you for granted? Or do they begin to realize just how much you meant to their life? Disappearing isn't just an act of silence. It's a statement, a powerful reminder of what it means to lose someone who truly matters. You're not just leaving, you're forcing them to face the void your absence creates, the questions they can't ignore, and the lessons they didn't want to learn. And if you're wondering, do they notice when I'm gone? Stick with me. In this video, I'll reveal 10 profound emotions and realizations they experience when they disappear, from the initial shock to the slow, inevitable understanding of what they've lost. Before we dive in, let them know where you stand. Comment below, "You lost, I'm gone." Don't miss a second, because the final lesson will completely change the way you understand your presence and your absence in the lives of others. Let's get started. Number 1, shock. Everything comes to a screeching halt. Imagine this. One moment, they're basking in the comfort of your presence, your reliability, your unwavering support, and the next, nothing. Silence. Like a lightning bolt on a clear day, your sudden absence sends their world into a tailspin. They're left standing there, stunned with questions swirling in their mind. What just happened? Why did they leave? Was it something I said? Something I did? The absence of answers amplifies the chaos in their thoughts. This isn't just a gap, it's a rupture, a reality check so jarring that it leaves them bamboozled, disoriented, and searching for meaning in the void you left behind. Marcus Aurelius captures this perfectly. We cannot control the actions of others, only our response to them. Your disappearance is not an act of cruelty, it's a boundary, a declaration of self-respect. It's saying, I choose me, even if you don't. But here's the key. Make sure your decision to walk away is deliberate and necessary. There's no need to explain or justify your actions, especially if doing so compromises your peace or well-being. Your silence will speak louder than words ever could. And the shockwaves of your absence? That's the sound of them realizing what they've lost. Number 2, curiosity. They keep asking why your disappearance doesn't just leave a void. It sparks a relentless storm of questions in their mind. Why did they leave? Was it something I did? Were they unhappy? Did I miss something? They replay every conversation, every interaction, desperately searching for clues. But no matter how much they analyze, the silence offers no answers. Driven by curiosity and the human need for closure, they begin to imagine scenarios. Were they upset with me? Did they find someone better? Or worse, are they in trouble and didn't tell me? Their thoughts spiral into overdrive, pulling them deeper into a labyrinth of speculation. Now picture this. They start asking around. Friends, colleagues, and mutual connections all become part of their quest for information. Have you heard from them? Did they say anything to you? Do you know what's going on? Each dead end intensifies their frustration. And as the questions pile up, so does their realization of just how much your absence is affecting them. Here's an example. Imagine someone who took your presence for granted at work. N, colleague who relied on you but never acknowledged your contributions. After you leave without explanation, they're suddenly overwhelmed, not just with your workload, but with unanswered questions. They find themselves awkwardly approaching coworkers, saying, "Hey, have you talked to them? Do you know why they left so abruptly?" Epictetus offers a profound reminder. Silence is sometimes the most powerful answer. By saying nothing, you force them to confront their actions and behavior. Your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting the dynamics they failed to appreciate while you were there. The most powerful move you can make? Resist the urge to explain. Let the silence teach them what your words never could. Allow their curiosity to lead them to realizations about what they had, what they lost, and what they may never have again. In the echo of your absence, they'll find their answers, or they won't. Either way, your value remains. Number 3, loss. They finally realize your worth. For so long, they assumed you'd always be there. Your kindness, your support, your love, they treated it like an endless supply, something they didn't need to earn or appreciate. But then you disappeared. And in the emptiness you left behind, they begin to feel the cold weight of what they've lost. The world they took for granted is now a little dimmer, a little harder. They notice the absence of your laughter in conversations, your steady presence during tough times, and your small gestures that make their days easier. It's only now, in your absence, that they understand the depth of your contributions. Picture this. Someone who once dismissed your affection as too much now struggles with the silence you left behind. They scroll through old messages, realizing the care and thought you put into each word. They replay moments when you showed up for them, thinking, "I didn't even say thank you." Seneca's timeless wisdom cuts to the heart of this realization. We often don't recognize the value of something until it's no longer there. Your absence becomes the teacher your presence could never be. It forces them to face the reality of how much they relied on you and how little they gave in return. And yet, you don't need to return to offer comfort or closure. Their sense of loss is their burden to carry, their lesson to learn. This is the power of stepping away, not out of spite but out of self-respect. By removing yourself, you grant them the opportunity to reflect, to grow, and to truly grasp the value you brought into their life. Let the void speak for itself. Let the silence echo louder than your words ever could. Your worth doesn't diminish because they didn't see it before. Your absence only magnifies it. Sometimes, the greatest act of kindness is to let someone experience the loss of what they never thought they'd lose. Number 4. Reflection. Are they the problem? Your disappearance does something unexpected. It turns their gaze inward. They start to wonder, wait, was it me? Did I mess up? Did I say or do something wrong? This sudden self-questioning can be both amusing and revealing, as they begin to dissect every little interaction, overanalyze every word, and replay every moment in a desperate search for answers. Imagine this scenario. They're lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, thinking, was it that time I ignored their text for 3 hours? Or maybe when I forgot their birthday? No, it must have been when I borrowed their charger and never gave it back. They spiral deeper, questioning their entire personality and wondering if they've been secretly awful all along. Picture them reaching out to mutual friends, nervously asking, "Hey, do you think I'm hard to deal with, like hypothetically?" The friend shrugs, "Well, you do talk over people a lot." Cue their mini existential crisis as they start Googling how to be less annoying in relationships. Marcus Aurelius said it best, "Let others face the consequences of their actions. You owe them no explanation." Your absence becomes the mirror they can't avoid, forcing them to confront their behaviors, choices, and patterns. It's not your job to spell out their mistakes. Your silence does the work for you. The beauty of this process? Growth comes from discomfort. As they wrestle with their self-doubt, they may finally start to recognize the flaws in their actions and the ways they took you for granted. Or they might just convince themselves they're perfect and move on. Either way, you've done your part by stepping back. Let their imagination run wild. Your quiet departure is not only a statement of your self-respect, but also a gift. The chance for them to grow, to take accountability, and to finally ask themselves the hard questions they've been avoiding. Whether they change or not, your worth remains intact. And hey, at least they're finally thinking about it. Number 5. Regret. The things they didn't do. In the quiet moments after you've walked away, the weight of regret begins to settle on them. They think back to all the times they could have done better, sent that heartfelt text, apologized when they knew they were wrong, or simply showed up for you when it mattered most. Those moments they brushed aside now feel like missed opportunities, each one cutting deeper than the last. Take a romantic scenario. They're scrolling through their phone, landing on an old picture of the two of you at a cafe, laughing over something silly. But instead of feeling warmth, they feel a pang. Why didn't I tell them how much that day meant to me? Why did I take it for granted? They start replaying all the times they could have been kinder, more attentive, or more honest about their feelings. The regret isn't just about what they did, it's about what they didn't do. They remember the time you subtly hinted you needed more support and they brushed it off. The time you planned something special and they barely acknowledged it. Now, those small moments loom large, like neon signs flashing, "You should have tried harder." Epictetus wisely observes, regret is a powerful tool for learning. This isn't your burden to carry, it's theirs. Your absence allows them to confront these feelings, to sit with the discomfort of knowing they had chances to bridge the gap, but they didn't take them. What's important is this: don't rush back to ease their guilt. Their regret is not a ticket for your return. It's a lesson they need to internalize. Growth often comes through pain, and their regret is the teacher. Imagine them picking up their phone, drafting a message that starts with, "I should've," and then stopping mid-sentence because they realize it's too late. That's not your cue to step in and reassure them. Instead, let their regret do its job. It might inspire them to treat future relationships with the care they failed to give you, or it might just linger as a quiet reminder of what they lost. Your role is simple: move forward. Don't let their regret anchor you in the past. They'll either grow from it or stay stuck in it. Either way, you've made your statement. You were worth the effort, and now they know it too. Number 6. Anger. They can't accept it. When faced with your disappearance, some people won't feel sadness or regret, not right away. Instead, they'll lash out in anger. Why? Accepting the loss means acknowledging their faults, and that's a truth too uncomfortable for them to face. Their anger might manifest in petty ways. How could they leave without saying anything? They're so selfish. Or who do they think they are, acting like they're too good for me? This reaction isn't about you. It's about their inability to take responsibility for the role they played in pushing you away. Imagine someone pacing their room, venting to their friends, "I can't believe they'd do this to me, after everything I've done for them." But deep down, even as they try to shift the blame, there's a nagging voice whispering the truth they don't want to hear. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I took them for granted. Their anger is a shield, protecting them from the sting of that realization. Seneca captured this dynamic perfectly. Anger is the reaction of those who have not yet learned to control themselves. Their fury is a reflection of their immaturity, a way to deflect the pain of accountability. What's your role in this? Stay calm, resist the urge to defend yourself, or explain your reasons. Their anger isn't yours to manage. If they try to provoke you with accusations or dramatic gestures, meet them with the quiet strength of someone who knows their worth. Here's the key: don't let their anger pull you back into a dynamic you've outgrown. You walked away for a reason, and their inability to accept it only reinforces why your choice was necessary. Let them be angry, let them stew in their frustration. Over time, they might confront the deeper feelings beneath their rage, or they might not. Either way, you owe them nothing but your silence and steadfastness. Anger fades, but your self-respect endures. Stay firm and let their storm pass while you move on with clarity and peace. Number 7. Longing. They can't forget you. Your absence isn't just a gap, it's a haunting echo of all the moments you shared. As the days pass, they find themselves revisiting memories of you. Your laugh, the way you made them feel understood, the little things you did that they barely noticed at the time. Now, those moments play on repeat in their mind, like a song they can't turn off. They might catch themselves smiling at the thought of your inside jokes or recalling how you always seemed to know exactly what to say. But with each memory comes a pang of loss. They can't reach you anymore. And that realization only makes their longing stronger. Picture them walking past a cafe where you used to meet. The smell of coffee triggers a flood of memories, and they hesitate outside the door, wondering if they'll ever find someone who made them feel as seen as you did. Or they scroll through their phone late at night, stumbling on an old message from you. They reread it, feeling the weight of what they let slip away. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, our presence in others' minds is a legacy, not a burden. Your impact on their life isn't erased by your absence, it's amplified. They realize now, perhaps too late, just how much your presence enriched their days. But here's the truth. You don't need to return to soothe their longing. Their memories of you are theirs to carry, just as your decision to leave was yours to make. The longing they feel is not your responsibility. It's the natural consequence of undervaluing someone they shouldn't have taken for granted. Your value lies in your choices, in the boundaries you set, and in the life you continue to build for yourself. Let their longing serve as a silent reminder of the lessons they needed to learn. Whether they find closure or continue to yearn for what's lost, your worth remains untouchable. You don't have to turn back. You don't have to answer their calls or soothe their hearts. The memories of you are enough, more than enough, to remind them of what they had and what they lost. Number 8, trying to win back your attention. Your absence stings, and for some, the solution isn't reflection or regret, it's action. They can't bear the silence, so they scramble to pull you back into their orbit. You might notice sudden gestures, a text out of the blue, a like on your old photo, or an attempt to run into you at places they know you frequent. Their actions can be subtle, like casually mentioning your name in conversations with mutual friends, hoping word will reach you. Or they might be overt, such as sending messages with phrases like, "Hey, just wanted to check in. I miss our talks," or "Remember when we used to laugh about this?" Their goal isn't just to reconnect, it's to recapture the version of you they took for granted. Imagine this scenario. You're out with friends, and suddenly they appear. They act surprised, saying, "Oh, what a coincidence," even though you both know it isn't. They bring up memories, drop hints about how things could be different now, or even joke about the good old days. Epictetus warned us against this. Do not let yourself be swept into emotional games. Their efforts might be fueled by genuine longing or a bruised ego, but responding only pulls you back into a cycle you've worked hard to escape. Here's the key. Stay grounded. You don't owe them your attention, no matter how hard they try to earn it. Their attempts to rekindle the connection may feel flattering, but they're not always aligned with your best interests. Your silence isn't just a boundary, it's a message. By refusing to engage, you're asserting your right to peace and self-respect. Let their attempts fizzle out without your participation. If their intentions are sincere, they'll show it through meaningful change, not fleeting gestures meant to grab your focus. Protect your energy. Remember, walking away was a choice you made for your well-being. Don't let their games distract you from the life you're building. Stay silent, stay strong, and let your absence speak louder than any words ever could. Number 9, realizing the lesson. Your absence isn't just felt, it's a lesson, one they can't ignore. In the stillness left behind, they begin to understand the cracks in their behavior, the imbalance in the relationship, or the way they underestimated your value. Loss has a way of forcing introspection, and for those willing to face it, growth begins here. Seneca reminds us, the best lessons often come from loss, and your departure is that lesson. It's the stark realization that relationships require responsibility, respect, and mutual effort, things they may have failed to provide while you were there. Imagine this. They think back to the times they dismissed your kindness or didn't prioritize your needs. Maybe they neglected the effort you put into the relationship, brushing it off as something they were entitled to. Now with you gone, those moments replay in their mind, no longer ignorable. They start to see the pattern, and more importantly, their role in it. This isn't an instant epiphany, it's a gradual realization. Over time, they might notice how other relationships feel shallow compared to what they had with you, or how their actions contributed to pushing you away. It's in this discomfort that they start to learn. But here's the truth. Their lesson is not your burden. You don't need to return to guide them through it or validate their growth. The most powerful thing you can do is let your silence remain. It is through that silence that they'll truly understand the gravity of their actions and the value of what they lost. If they choose to grow from this, it's their victory. If they don't, it's their loss. Either way, your decision to walk away has served its purpose. You've asserted your worth, and in doing so, you've allowed them to face the truth about themselves and their role in the relationship. Your absence is the teacher's. Let it do its work. Stand firm and trust that whatever lesson they learn or fail to learn was never yours to enforce. It's theirs to carry forward. Number 10, change. They might grow or they might not. When you walk away, some will take it as a wake-up call. They'll look at the void you left and decide to become better, not just for you, but for themselves. they'll reflect, adapt, and start to build habits of respect, responsibility, and care. But others, they'll stay the same, locked in their patterns, unwilling or unable to grow. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you cannot control the actions of others, only your own. This is the core of change. It must come from within them. You can't force it, nor should you wait for it. Imagine this. Someone who once dismissed your needs suddenly begins treating others with the respect they withheld from you. They might even reach out, saying, "You made me realize how much I need to change. I'm better now." And perhaps they are. But that change came because you walked away, not because you stayed and waited. On the flip side, others may double down on their behavior, refusing to see their role in your departure. They might deflect, blame, or convince themselves that they don't need to change at all. That's their journey, not yours. The key here is acceptance. Not everyone will learn the lesson your absence offers. Some will evolve, but many won't, and that's okay. What matters is that you've reclaimed your time, energy, and dignity. Your role in their life was a catalyst, but it's not your responsibility to ensure their transformation. Whether they grow or stay the same, you've made your choice for your growth. In the end, the possibility of their change is a byproduct of your decision, not its purpose. Accept that the story might not end the way you'd hoped, but trust that walking away was the right decision for your well-being, because whether they change or not, you already have. Closing. When you choose to disappear, it's not just an act of leaving, it's a statement, a bold declaration of your self-worth. Your silence speaks louder than any argument, and your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting the lessons others need to learn. It's a way of reclaiming your peace and demonstrating that your value isn't contingent on their recognition. Let your silence do the talking. Let your absence teach the lessons your presence couldn't. This isn't about punishment, it's about prioritizing your dignity, your boundaries, and your growth. If this video resonated with you, share it with friends who need this reminder. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Victory Stoic to continue exploring profound lessons from Stoic philosophy that can transform your life. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is to walk away. Use it wisely and let it reaffirm your value and your inner peace. See you in the next video.